The official trailer for Way of the Hunter 2 has finally released, and thank God they changed the name of the game, because the next hunting adventure, that would have been a terrible name for the game. I'm so glad they changed it to Way of the Hunter 2, and from what we see here, this game might be a little bit better than I originally thought. Let's talk about it. Okay, so the first thing that we got to do is take a look at the trailer, because they actually showed some pretty cool stuff in it. And I gotta say, I am liking the visual upgrade from going to Unreal Engine 5. From what the developers have said in their Discord, that is the primary reason that they did create a second game instead of just updating Way of the Hunter 1, was because without UE5, it was just going to be a lot more difficult to update the game the way they wanted to. And obviously, if you upgrade your engine from UE4 to UE5 without creating a new game, it is a crazy difficult process from what I've heard. So I imagine they just figured it would be easier to create a whole new game instead. But anyway, let's take a look at that trailer.
Always been a runner, never been one for settling down. Spend my life in the back. For the wicked of these sports.
So as you can tell, the trailer shows off a decent bit of stuff that we can expect with this game right here. Obviously, the environments look a lot cooler. It seems like the character might be able to run faster. Is that a hint that we'll be able to run faster? Also, I mean, there's a dog, which is pretty cool. You'll love to see that. And it does seem like you'll be able to use it for a lot of things. If I'm not mistaken, you're going to be able to use it to track blood, to find track, to retrieve, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to be reading about that later in this video, so if I'm incorrect, obviously, we'll know for sure by the time we finish reading everything on the website. But overall, I feel like this trailer showcases a good bit of what we can expect out of Way of the Hunter 2, and like I said, the biggest noticeable difference is the graphics. The graphics do look a lot better, which is to be expected with an upgraded engine. But the entire reason why I am making this video right here isn't because of this trailer. And it isn't because of the new information that we learned. Well, I guess it kind of is a piece of new information, but it's a specific screenshot that got me very, very excited. And we're going to take a look at those screenshots right now. This right here is the one that got me super excited. That is a non-typical mule deer. And a giant one at that. This was not a thing in Way of the Hunter 1. You had like the, oh gosh, what was that buck name? You had the mission buck that was kind of special looking, but that was about the only non-typical crazy mule deer that we had. This guy right here is on a whole nother level. Now, my only complaint is I would like to see more mass on the tines, but obviously there's some deer that have thinner tines in real life, so I'm not too worried about it, but that would be my only complaint, is I would like to see this be like a little more of a mass-heavy rack, but who knows? Maybe there's going to be some in the game that are a little bit more mass-heavy. But this already is a huge upgrade over Way of the Hunter 1, because one of the biggest issues that game had was trophy variety. Pretty much after you had shot a couple 5 stars of every species, you had basically everything outside of the couple species that had rares. Because there really wasn't a lot of species that had rare fur variations. From what I remember, it wasn't even half, if I'm not mistaken. And most of them only had like one rare fur type, which honestly is a pretty massive downgrade in comparison to other hunting games in the market. So that was always my biggest complaint about Way of the Hunter, was just the lack of like trophy variety that made it hard to enjoy the game long term. Because a super realistic and good gameplay loop can only take you so far if you're hunting the same things every single time. And unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of variety in the antlers for animals in Way of the Hunter 1 either. It was a much more, I guess, like, it was a much more simple variation of a random antler generation system. It made it so that a lot of bucks did look different, but it was still like the same, let's say like 20 different racks, and then sometimes they just were mixed and matched and stuff. So it wasn't like insane. And I'm really hoping that they can take that system to the next level in Way of the Hunter 2. I really want to see a super detailed random antler generation system. Because in the original Way of the Hunter, for a lot of species, it was like, okay, I've got all 3 or all 5 of the 5-star racks. There's really nothing else to go for this species. So I'm hoping that this game will actually have a more in-depth generation system that gives us more varieties. Like maybe this is kind of a hint right here that we'll get like random stickers and flyers and drop tines just coming off of antlers, which would be really, really awesome. It would go a long way in giving more variety. Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Way of the Hunter 1 could just randomly get drop tines on any frame. I'm pretty sure that every single frame was a specific set frame. So already we're seeing that there's going to be larger trophies in Way of the Hunter 2, and this guy is another one of them. This appears to be a non-typical moose. And if we go to this picture, that's the same non-typical moose, and that is just insane looking. Like, that is crazy. Now, we don't have moose here in Oregon, and I've never hunted or seen them in person. I've just seen them through videos and obviously hunting games. So let me know if this is a realistic non-typical moose, because I personally have really no idea. At least with the mule deer and like other common deer species like black-tailed deer and whitetail, I can have a pretty good indication of if they look good because I've seen them quite a bit in real life, or at least the blacktail and mule deer because they're all over Oregon. But for moose, I'm really not too sure. I think this looks good, but let me know in the comments if you guys think this is a good representation of a realistic, non-typical moose. And then down here we see some boar. These guys have some insane tusks coming off of them. I mean, this is just crazy looking. We also got a picture of the ducks, and this is another thing I hope gets improved in Way of the Hunter 2. Waterfowl hunting was just very underwhelming in that game. In most cases, like, you kind of just shot ducks as they'd fly over you. There wasn't a really good, proper duck hunting feeling in Way of the Hunter 1. So hopefully Way of the Hunter 2 improves the waterfowl system and makes it so that people actually want to hunt the birds. Because I can't recall anybody ever wanting to hunt waterfowl in Way of the Hunter because it was just so lackluster and other games did it better. But if they improve the fowl hunting, that's going to be a major, major upgrade. There we've got a screenshot of one of the outposts, it appears. Very cool looking. Right here we've got some trees, like an overhead view of it. Quite cool looking, do like that. And here's kind of like a more, I guess, like ground level, a little bit different lighting type of shot. I assume this is probably the other map because the trees are quite different. We're going to go ahead and read the description now because they do talk about quite a bit of the stuff that's going to be in the game. Here we go. The game. Explore the vast outdoors of North America in this next level open world hunting game. Feel the thrill of the hunt and keep an eye out for the wild and wondrous species that are roaming the Canadian wilderness. Hunt and display big game like moose, elk, bears, or bison, as well as smaller animals like rabbits, turkeys, and various other birds. As the ultimate hunting simulator, Way of the Hunter's goal is to become the most authentic and advanced virtual hunting experience, building upon our previous experience. Invaluable player feedback and countless iterations of this game will start as the foundation for many updates, expansions, and true long-term support, which that has me pretty excited because if they're not lying here, if they're being truthful about this and they actually are going to support this long-term, I could see Way of the Hunter 2 being a much more popular and well-rounded game than what Way of the Hunter 1 was. Because unfortunately, Way of the Hunter 1, while it had a lot of promise and was quite fun at times, just never built a huge player base. It had a very small, hardcore player base. The people that played it absolutely loved it, but it never had a big enough audience from what I could tell to support a long-term development of a game because, let's be honest, developing a game is very expensive. You need people buying your DLCs, you need people buying the base game. If you can't get a bunch of people buying, well, it's just not realistic to continue updating it. They continue on with over 10 different real-world brand partners, from hunting rifle manufacturers to high-tech equipment and precision optics. Our commitment to realistically simulating your favorite hunting gear guarantees ultimate in-game immersion. As the new hunter in town, you're recruited to take on a series of unique challenges that span 2 breathtaking environments and introduce you to a cast of memorable NPCs. In New Laurentia, you'll team up with a skilled dog trainer and assist the former warden as you uncover the mystery behind the unusual behavior of the local moose population. So this line right here tells us that there is 2 locations, which is what I was talking about earlier when we were looking in the screenshots. It does seem like there is going to be 2 locations, but they've really only talked about the first one in depth, with that being the Canadian wilderness. Unless I'm misreading something, maybe both maps are Canadian wilderness, but we for sure know that the first map is going to be the Canadian wilderness. It continues on to talk about the features and says, bring your loyal hunting companion to support you while you hunt and track game. It can search for animal signs, locate blood trails, and track down wounded animals. Oh, so I guess it can't retrieve, which I guess that's why when we talked about it earlier, I was like, I'm not 100% sure if it can. And yeah, it can't retrieve, but it can look for animal clues, locate blood trails, and track down the wounded animals. Your dog will learn and improve with constant exercise and training. So very similar to Call of the Wild system, it seems, where the more you use your dog, the more it's going to level up. Pretty standard way to go about it, I would say. Shot review. Our improved bullet camera lets you break down every shot with precision. Analyze trajectory, speed, angle, placement, and more. Learn how to make the perfect shot every time. So I assume they're just going to take the shot cam that they had before and just improve upon it to make it a little bit more precise and accurate, with more detailed information to help you with future shots. That kind of seems like what they're saying. Then we have Hunting Lodge. Welcome to the Hunting Lodge, your ultimate hub for adventure. Plan your next hunt, showcase hard-earned trophies, and unlock powerful upgrades to build the hunting paradise of your dreams. Each map features its own lodge, unique to that territory. So I'm a little confused about this section because it kind of sounds like maybe the lodges are going to be like a separate instance than the map. Like the first line, it's going to be your ultimate hub for adventure, plan your next hunt, showcase hard-earned trophies, and unlock upgrades. It kind of sounds like it's going to be its own thing. But then at the end, it says each map features its own lodge unique to that territory. So that kind of makes it sound like it's going to be built into the map again. So I'm really not sure. I'm kind of hoping that they have it separated, because one complaint that a lot of people had was that the lodges being on map probably hurt the performance a little bit because of all the trophies being mounted and stuff in there. I don't know if that's true. I just saw some people in the comments section talking about that and discussing it back when I used to play the game more. So I'm really curious what they're going to do with the hunting lodge. That's going to be very interesting to see. Then it says high-tech equipment. High-end gear will amplify your instincts, delivering the most immersive and realistic hunting experience with improved night vision and next-level hunting reserve monitoring for managing your habits. So did they just improve the night vision stuff that we've got in the game already? Maybe. Kind of sounds like what they're going to do with it. And then I assume reserve monitoring is in relation to their herd managing system they had in Way of the Hunter 1. I would imagine that's probably going to return, and they're probably going to improve on it and make it better. I would sure hope so, at least. Anyway, guys, let me know down in the comments, what do you think of Way of the Hunter 2? I think it looks very promising, but obviously I'm still a little bit skeptical just because of how Way of the Hunter 1 went. Even though that game was a very fun game and had a lot of potential, it just never reached the potential I thought it could. So provided the devs will actually support this game long term like they're saying, I do think it could turn out to be a pretty phenomenal hunting game. And even at launch, it's looking like it's going to have a decent bit of upgrades over the first Way of the Hunter. Exactly how many is still to be seen, but I definitely am curious as to how good this game is going to be in comparison to the first. Obviously, you guys know me. I'll at least check it out. I'll at least make a few videos on it, see if I like it, and if I do enjoy it, I'll continue playing it. But yeah, we'll have to see how it actually plays. It sounds like it's going to release relatively soon, so hopefully we'll see it in a few months. But with that being said, be sure to subscribe to the channel, as well as leaving a comment down below, hitting the like button before you go, sharing it with a friend, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!